Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. Oh, baby, I forgot what it was like to roll those R's, man. Diego, I haven't done the intro all season. I haven't done it once this season, if I'm remembering correctly. It's just been Barca, 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 Barca. Oh, we're so great. Barca, Barca this, Barca that, Hansi's flick, Lamin's Yamal. All of this, Barca, Barca, Barca. Hansi's flick
Let's
is
go.
an inside
Ay
joke,
Liga,
by the way. I
cabrones.
think it's for our members.
Ay
in case you're
Liga,
confused.
cabrones.
I Liga. All right, let's start with I Liga and Barca Atletico, which was the biggest game of the weekend. I am, for one, Diego, absolutely shocked and flabbergasted that Diego Simeone got a result in Barcelona. I'm shocked. I still can't believe it. Have to pinch myself.
Believe it, man. You know what? For all of the build-up where I was saying that a result is never guaranteed, yada, yada, knowing, of course, all the while that, well, Simeone had never won in the Camp Nou, or let's say away at Barcelona's ground in all of his time. I knew it was going to be tough, but if there was ever a game where we should have walked away with the 3 points, it was this one. And amazingly, incredibly, we didn't. And we're probably talking about one of the biggest losses, most unlikely losses of the season, where everything looked like it was going to end up in a Barca win. I certainly was hopeful until the end that was going to be the case. I felt that walking away with a point was never really in the books, and you know, we needed to come out, and obviously in hindsight I would have rather taken away a point, naturally, but I felt that the team should have been what we saw, like they were going for the win, and with all of the kind of flaws individually that stood out in the game, I did feel like collectively it was a game where the 3 points were more likely to fall for the home side, and in the end fucking Sorlot just shat on all of those 96 minutes of playing football. And Atletico walked away with 3 points. Hugely bitter. It's disappointing to end the year like this. To think that we were, you know, what was it now, 8 match days or something ago, leading Atletico by 10 points. Now to have actually dropped behind and third, it's what a way to end the year. It's definitely sour. And it's a white Christmas to bust out the cheese. So enjoy, all of you blancos, this white Christmas. I don't know. I guess maybe you would have preferred a draw as well, though, huh? Atletico winning is not the best result.
It really depends. I mean, I think ideally a draw would have been great because it would have put us at the top of the table this weekend.
Yeah.
But then the question is, will Atletico sustain this and be a title contender in May? If you believe that, then a draw would have been better. If you think they're going to cool off and eventually fall off the pace, then, you know, a win would be good for us. So it's really interesting. I mean, I'm just listening to you speak, and maybe I'll just go back to something that I said, which is I'm genuinely shocked that Atletico pulled it off. And you mentioned Sorloth. Like, Sorloth was driving me nuts in this game. It was like there was one sequence where it's a counterattack, and I think he has a player to his left, player to his right. I think Alvarez was to his left, maybe. And instead of doing either, he just like basically passed it a through ball to Iñaki Peña. And there were a lot of Atletico attacks that just broke down with that final ball. And it was super frustrating to watch, but also not surprising. So I don't really know why I was getting frustrated with it anyway. Tip your hat to Jan Oblak, who was great.
Yeah.
Doing some peak Oblak stuff there. I don't know if anyone else really stood out for me from an Atletico point of view. I mean, Rodrigo
definitely not
Paul.
Griezmann. I mean, I felt that, you know, that's the thing, right? Where if you're walking away from a game losing to an Atletico where Griezmann is pretty much not It's not like he was even on the forefront. He was pretty much insignificant. Maybe that's too harsh, but I felt like he was really not a threat at all. Yet, we still managed to walk away losing. I don't know what that says. Like, I'm perplexed at the moment, for all of and I made sure never to get ahead of myself, to get swept up in the euphoria, quote unquote euphoria. I was definitely, obviously feeling myself and feeling optimistic ahead of this season, knowing that we are a side that can compete with the best. And I don't walk away from this game against Atletico feeling that we were inferior despite having lost. But the fact that we have given up such a heavy lead, such a significant lead, it definitely says something. That just doesn't just happen. We don't set record-breaking numbers to then just have those erased within a matter of weeks. But it says something.
If you had been told in the summertime that, hey, by Christmas time you guys would be 1 point, is it 1 point back? It's not much, whatever it is.
Well, and the game in hand that you both have, of course.
Right. But let's just say you were told in the summertime that you would be flying in the Champions League, top seed, and a point back in the La Liga title race in Christmas. You'd take that, right? I mean, you'd be pretty happy with that.
Of course.
I think obviously the way it changed in these last 7 games for you guys, it's a more bitter pill to swallow. Simeone was saying after the game that he feels that the points that Barca have dropped before the Atletico game, that Barca didn't deserve to lose those. And he brought up Leganés, and I think Las Palmas were the 2 that he brought up, that you guys had a lot of chances, didn't score. Of course, that's classic Simeone. He felt really bad accidentally winning in Barcelona, and so he had to up you guys in the press conference.
I appreciate it.
Some of this, well, actually, here's my diagnosis. There's a couple things. I'd say 3 main things, maybe 4. One is that you guys have a pretty young team. And so players like Casado and whoever are going to make mistakes because they're inexperienced. They're young. These are growing pains that you're going to have. Long term, if you're going to be a great team and these players are going to be great, these are the things they have to go through. Every great player will go through it. Second thing is Lewandowski. And it's really interesting because just before we hit record, I saw the numbers, and he scored the most goals of anyone in the top 5 leagues in the calendar year of 2024. More than Kane, more than Haaland, more than Mbappe. But then he's kind of in a cold streak right now. So the finishing has not been good. So you finish your chances, you're going to win those games. This is a classic problem. Like when it comes down to bad finishing, often those things tend to normalize. You'll bounce back. And obviously Lamine Yamal's injury. What was the other thing? I think teams are starting to figure it out.
I mean, we went from literally Rafinha scoring the 2-0, that coming off the crossbar, that beautiful lob that finally beat Oblak, to then conceding the 1-1. It's just like with a blink of an eye, what would have been a 2-goal cushion was the equalizer, and then
but
switching.
Those that those are the risks you run with the high line too. Like like you're up 1-0. There wasn't many numbers in transition, like defending Rodrigo de Paul, cutting in and shooting. And obviously there really shouldn't be any scenario where Sorloth is so wide open on that last second. Like that's got to be secured, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that need. Those are that's kind of flickball too. That comes with the territory of flickball.
Yeah.
So now we're in a situation where, I mean, the timing for me doing the intro really worked out this weekend because it was a combination of that and also Real Madrid arguably having their best performance of their season, Mbappe having the best performance of his season so far. So that was a nice kind of way to put a bow on 2024, which has actually been, in hindsight, really spectacular for Real Madrid fans with the Champions League and the league, which we kind of didn't think about much and forgot a little bit about because the season was going so badly. But now we're back in this situation, and as you said, I-Liga. I don't know what this means for the rest of it. I'm very curious to see how Atletico sustain, how Barca sustain. Can Real Madrid put a run here? I'm very interested. Like, what do you think? Like, how are you feeling for the second half of the season? Are you more optimistic or pessimistic for Barca?
Right now, it's a little bit hard to see this glass half full, if you will. Again, I don't know how a team can respond. Like you pointed out, the fact that they're so young, but there's also a lot of kind of internal conflicts in there that you kind of wonder how they're going to solve themselves out. You have a Frenkie de Jong situation that continues to boil under the scene. It feels like a pressure cooker at some point. How's he going to come out of this? Is he going to be used by Hansi Flick in the second half of the season? Because he hasn't been recently, right? He wasn't used against Atletico and neither against Leganés, if I'm not mistaken. And those kind of things are quite telling, right? So how's that going to evolve? We're going to need individuals to step up now. I with all of the patience that I preached in previous podcasts to the likes of Gavi and Araujo coming back, and also Frenkie de Jong. But these players have to step up now. It's preseason is over. Like now, the going is getting tough. Pedri, who was brilliant in the game against Atletico, brilliant. For all of those Pedri critics, I hope they see a game like this the way that I see it and see his brilliance and what he gives to this team. But he can't do it alone, right? And it's unfair to pick at Casado in this game because he did commit an individual mistake that led to Atletico scoring, but he's been phenomenal so far this season. But like you said, he is a very young player, and we have to practice patience with these guys and forgiveness as well. It's just impossible to expect flawless games and just extreme levels of maturity for such a young player. So it's a little bit. I don't know. Right now, like I said, it's hard to see it half full because we have let slip an important lead. That's not to say that I don't think this team doesn't have what it takes to compete for this league until the latter stages. We've seen what they're capable of against the biggest sides in Spain and Europe, and that's not just going to disappear. But it is. I don't think that we are going to be in this luxurious position come in the next 3-4 months where we find ourselves again with a 9-point lead at the top of the league table. I think that's gone. So it's either going to go down the wire or one of the two Madrid teams will run away with this. We'll see.
If you had a gun to your head right now, you have to say yes or no. Will Dani Olmo be a Barcelona player? Right.
Well, yes, of course he's going to be, but he needs to also step up. I briefly touched on the Dani Olmo topic in the prior podcast, where I said that luckily this version of Olmo is coming late. This version of Olmo is coming after he's exceeded our expectations of him in the beginning when he exploded onto the scene in the game against Rayo, and he proceeded to score in every single game, including the Bernabeu, except for the Bernabeu, excuse me.
But he played well off the bench in that game.
He played well, yeah. So we're missing Olmo. We're missing that Olmo factor as well, with Lewandowski not being on point, and he missed some absolute inexcusable sitters. Some tap-ins that should have gone in, that should have been a goal, and that's very, very. It's a tough pill to swallow, and luckily his stats are what they are. So any criticism, he can kind of deflect that and say, dude, look at my scoring record for this season so far. But you can't miss those and not even hit them in some occasion. So, well, yeah, what's going to happen with Levy? Is he going to be a difference maker? Yes or no? A lot will come down on those things because Rafinha and Lamine can't do it, and Pedri can't do it by themselves.
Yeah, this is something that you and I talked about too last week. I think it was, where it's like once Lamine Yamal gets injured, you're looking at off the bench. You have Ferran Torres, Dani Olmo, Ansu Fati, who's training over the holidays, according to Mundo Deportivo.
Yeah. Look, I commend Ansu. I really do. As in, this kind of effort is great to see. And if we have to believe what we read in the press, you don't even need to read the press, but just look at the way Hansi has been using Ansu Fati. It doesn't look like the youngster has a lot of opportunities to state his claim. So he'll really have to be efficient for the rest of the season with his minutes to try to be as useful and productive as possible. But so again, any off season, let's say training, I think you have to commend that. But it's not looking great for Ansu, man. I mean, a lot will have to go right if he wants to have a massive positive impact. I guess,
yeah. So watching the Atletico Barca game was a trip for
enjoyable.
Sure. I mean,
and you decided to take advantage of that by being your nasty self and
what are you talking about?
And put out one of the nastiest clips that you have put out for
clips.
Nasty, this smearing me, taking advantage of a minor slip up to have everybody joyously over those holidays dunk all over me. You're a nasty human being, Kiyan Sobhani.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. This is what it gets us followers. It teaches you a lesson too, to be on top of your game. You got to be on top of your game next time. I don't know how you let that one slip, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you really. Now you're just backtracking on your very sincere comment that Cristiano was better.
You're a nasty piece of work.
League stepping up massively in their final.
Yeah,
when I saw that, and was not as physically gifted as a Courtois. Casillas did more miraculous save.
Right.
Courtois.
Hey, would you compare it to like Cristiano and Messi? Like Cristiano was better, but it might be more impressive that Messi was that good because he didn't have the physical gifts that Cristiano had.
Yeah, it's not a bad comparison, I suppose. Yeah.
What the fuck? Shut up. What do you say?
So good. Great job, Hitzmedi, with that clip, bro.
Hey, Hizzy, I would love at least one video like that dedicated to me, all right? I make one video where I finally get one up on Kiyan, and he has to hide and run away for him.
When?
That's the damage that caused. What do you mean when? You know that Bernabeu video, boy, that one got you good, and I worked that one, and that was all. I need some of that Hitzmedi love on an input like that. The Bernabeu.
I didn't run away from that at all.
You ran. That was after you ran. You hide for a month. You said, "I need a break." You said, "Time out."
No. That was a different reason. No. Hitzmedi is not biased. Hitzmedi. If there's any situations where I get dunked on, that's cool. I'm gonna take it for the team. You have my word. But you got to get one over me for that to happen.
Hizzy, help a brother out.
What else happened this weekend, bro?
Well, what else happened?
Any thoughts on Jesus Navas?
Well, I didn't see it, so I didn't catch that game live. But would love to hear. I guess I read about it, but from your perspective, was this very planned? I mean, were you kind of taken aback by the love shown by the Bernabeu faithful towards old Navas? What happened there?
Well, he seemed a little bit like...
You're surprised, right?
He said that he's never seen like anything like that from a rival stadium before. And that was like super... He was crying in the mix zone after the game. He was crying during the tribute at the beginning. And then in the end, like all the Real Madrid players are coming to hug him. Ancelotti's, they all signed a shirt for him, kind of as a send off. It was a nice moment. Look, Jesus Navas has been around since I was a kid, and he kind of, for me, is like in that Joaquin territory of just a legend of the game. He's been around for so long. It's almost like you don't remember where the career started or ended. It's just he was always there. From like the beginning. I remember like Joaquin 2002 South Korea, Spain. You remember it was his cross that the referee said it was out of bounds for the Morientes header? Like he was there. That was 22 years ago, and he just retired like recently. And like Jesus Navas, like I don't even remember where. Like I just remember that he was playing when Real Madrid had Zidane, and you're playing against Jesus Navas and Dani Alves, right? And it's like, whoa, and he's just still here. I mean, he had that Man City blip, then came back, reinvented himself as a right back.
That was crazy. Yeah, didn't expect that.
And in my eyes, he's kind of like he was kind of like Lucas Vazquez in some sense. That long career, play at the club he loved. Reinvented himself as a right back after playing on the right wing, well respected.
Yeah.
And he would have kept playing like until the end of the season if he just couldn't, like he literally couldn't play anymore. Like he couldn't. It was hard for him, right, physically. Like he was broken down. So
that's it. Like he's resigning, or what's the word?
Retiring.
Retiring. But they're basically like breaking their contract. He said, "Stop! My body is aching. I can't take it anymore. I'm out."
Yeah.
Rather than be like a burden, let's say, on Sevilla.
Yeah. I mean, he just physically can't play anymore, so it's just going to be mid-season.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much a. It's never good to have, of course, injuries, physical problems be a reason, or mental for that matter, but the reason for you to walk away from what you love to do and did best for most of your life. But in the case of Jesus Navas, finishing off your last game in the Santiago Bernabeu and receiving that sort of a farewell is must be a very special moment for him.
Yeah.
And kind of a, I didn't know how to phrase this, but a dream ending to a very, illustrious career. He's definitely put his name in the world of football as one of those players that magical midfielders and creative players, offensively creative players that at a very old age managed to reinvent himself and then, be significant as well on the defensive end. But I don't know. I was surprised by all this. I didn't even, I wasn't aware that this was actually going to be his last game, that he was calling for his retirement. So it kind of took me, as quite a surprise.
Well, I mean, I knew because this was talked about earlier in the season, and then of course he already had his send off at the Sanchez Pizjuan, so he's already played his last game there. Right. So we always knew this was going to be his last game. I just one more thing on him before we move on. I think what's interesting about him is that despite him being 39, like he had a really, really strong close to his career. Like that 2019-2020 season, and also like kind of bleeding into 2020, 2021 as a creator and as a crosser, he was pretty incredible. Probably the best crossing of his career came like in that 2-year range just a few years ago. And this wasn't a player that fell from grace or was washed up for a long time. Like at the age of 36, 37, he was playing some of the best football of his career, like actually like from that right back position. So it was, just obviously a player that everybody respects and is now off to the sunset. So
and it's got a very, I said it sort of in passing, but an illustrious career. If any football player would be jealous or would trade their career to have a career like his, winning trophies at the clubs that he played for, that he was beloved at. Also with Spain, part of that World Cup trophy, Spain squad that of course was historic. So, yeah, a good farewell to a magnificent player.
I have an exercise for you.
What was this?
What are the top 3? Because this is our last podcast of 2024.
It is.
What are your top 3 Barca moments of 2024? Do you have 3?
I mean, fuck. This is an exercise, yeah. Last season was just so disappointing. It's hard to kind of not hyper focused on more recent events. You know what I mean? I can't. It's hard to take anything away from last season. I mean, I guess
season?
you're talking Barca as well. I mean,
Yeah.
like I would say Spain's.
Yeah, that's your number 1, obviously, if
Yeah.
you're including everything.
Yes. If it's Barca, I mean, a lot will be more focused on this current season.
Someone, what's going on over there? You're in the Swiss Alps right now, by the way, aren't you?
I am. Yes, I'm in
Very
Ticino,
jealous.
the Italian part of Switzerland. Here with my wife's family. The cousins are having fun playing, and here comes my mother-in-law, Bruna.
We're gonna get a MIL appearance on the podcast.
No, they cannot see you. My mother-in-law now scurried away.
So you don't have one?
For Barca?
Yeah.
I mean, it's more obviously, the big games, the Bayerns, the Madrids, these wins right now would stand out.
That
by
was
far.
in the span of a week too, right? You had
Yeah,
Bayern
exactly.
and Madrid.
Yeah.
That was your peak so far.
It's peak so far this year. Well, so far this year.
There was
For the entire year.
was there no silver linings or takeaways or one positive thing from last year?
Um.
Lamine Yamal's breakthrough, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely. If this season, if we're gonna focus it on individual performances, Casado is a big, standout name that has definitely been one of the highlights this season. Last year, it has to be undoubtedly Lamine Yamal's breakthrough and break in to the first team, kind of like cementing his place, right? As like a definitive starter, really. If there was always like kind of the question whether or not you can use a 16-year-old for that much, if you should place so much burden and pressure on his young shoulders, it kind of became clear that year that he was ready to take the next step, right, into the elite. And he proved that throughout the season, and that culminated beautifully with the Spanish national side in the Euro Cup, or in the Euros. He was one of the big standouts for the Spain side that won the tournament. And now we're seeing a continuation this season. I think he's having a brilliant season. His impact on the game can only be written and spelled with caps and in a positive way. So individually, but I was thinking more collectively, But yeah, individually, there's definitely some positives to take out.
I think
Cubarsí would be another one, for example. About Cubarsí, yeah.
What about Fermin Lopez? His celebration in the Bernabeu.
Yeah, good goal.
Was he holding up his shirt, Messi style?
He did the Messi-like celebration, yeah.
Too soon, Junior. Too soon. He came back down to earth real quickly on that one. That was one of my
Yeah,
favorite
well,
ones. I think. I like.
well, if you're going to point out highlights, maybe we should talk about the phantom goal in that game that should have given Barca the win. Yes, the Lamine Yamal scored.
Barca are not winning that game.
That brought
not
us.
with Jude Bellingham
Trust
on
me,
the field.
that is what brought us down to earth a lot quicker than Fermin Lopez celebration. That was a good reminder of yeah. So we forgot what league we're playing in here. We forgot against who we're playing here.
Whatever trophies you want, you gonna claim that trophy too?
Oh, I'm just saying. You talk about things that brought us back down to earth
victim
quickly.
trophy. The victim trophy.
That was well, call it what you want. It's a robbery for sure. Police was there. No arrests were made.
I think that was one of my. I mean, that week in particular was really special for me because we had just before we had the Rudiger winning penalty at the Etihad, and then a few days later. So I went from the Etihad, and then I went to Madrid for the Clásico. And that Clásico was a little bit watered down because like we had already basically won the league at that point, and we had just beaten City, and then it looked like we were going to drop points, and then Bellingham, I couldn't believe that he did it again, like last second against you guys. So that was like peak. I don't know why I'm doing this to you, man. You look like you're about to cry, so I'm gonna stop, I guess. What do you got? I got to run to another podcast. So what do you got planned in the holidays? You gonna be in Switzerland all year?
I am gonna be here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be here until the 2nd, and that's it. Just
what's
family
the
stuff.
itinerary like? Is it just every day you just kind of wake up whenever you wake up, have breakfast together, and then, or is there anything like?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you gotta entertain the kids. So here it's fun stuff that they can do that don't normally do in Barcelona, like ice skate, and just hang out with the cousins. It's fine. I mean, and I'm gonna in a couple of days head over to my neck of the woods, which is in the Swiss-German region. That's where we moved as a family in 1993.
Oh wow!
So then I'm gonna be there with my family. One of my sisters will be there with her kids, more cousin stuff. Even though my wife and kids will remain here for a little bit longer, but
love it. Little escape for Diego.
Yeah, man. You know, it's holidays. It's that time of year. We can't always come here, so when we do, kind of take advantage of making sure I get to all ends of the this country that I lived in for many years, Kiyan. Actually, you know what? Switzerland's the country I lived in for the longest amount of time in terms of consecutive years. I'm busy.
Go, bro.
I'm busy getting my Swiss passport as well. Where do you go? Where you got to go? Switzerland.
Yeah, I got to go to Switzerland. Like
Yeah,
I have friends who live there, and they've been begging me. Like it looks amazing. Yeah.
Where?
One of my friends is in Geneva.
Okay, the French part. Yeah. So that's where my wife and I met, actually.
Well, what's the story? Guys reach for the same napkin, or?
No, you know what the story was? She fell in love with my freestyling skills. I was very serious about my rap gaming, my rap game in them days, and I would do little freestyles in the clubs that we would frequent in them days, and that was kind of what got her. Dude, I look wrecked, don't I? I look very tired.
It's been a tough week for Barca fans. It's been a tough week.
It has been. This
and
is not a flattering angle.
No, you look great, but it's been a tough week for you guys. Plus, you had.
Listen to me. I'm happy that you are back to your arrogant self. It's good that all of this is oozing out now.
That's all it took. That's all it took for me to come. Be reborn.
Seriously, I missed this side of Kiyan Sobhani, but you're back. Liga. And I can't wait for you to eat some humble pie at the end of the season.
I think between me and you,
I took it easy. I've took it easy on you. I was never exploitive. I was never, ridiculing. I was stayed classy, stayed humble. And now
always.
And now look at you.
I think between me and you, though, like I think you become the more insufferable if Barca get good.
What?
For sure.
I've never showboated. I have never
No,
gone
it's
beyond
just
myself.
you'd be more insufferable for sure.
Dude, you
For sure.
forget. We've been doing this pod for a long time. There were great years.
Yes.
It is unfortunate that we started this pod right after Barca won, when we won our last Champions League. It was like, since then, that's like, we started Churros at Barca's right after Barca's peak.
But we also started it, I think, after the Madrid 3-peat too. Or did we have it for that?
We did.
Not
course
the
we
whole
did.
thing.
Well, it's been 7 years, my friend. So you do the math.
Yeah, I think we did 1 or 2.
I'm pretty sure we did, but no, I talked to you about Zizou's like status as a 3-peat coach and all that stuff. Like, no, for sure. Anyways, enjoy it. Don't make me suffer through this much longer. Let's call it a quits.
Well, we have a lot of time to take a break.
Yes.
You're on holiday. I'm flying out tomorrow, God willing, if the weather holds up. It's freaking minus 1 million here. It's snowing. It's ice everywhere. I slept on the damn ice today. Tomorrow we're getting on a plane going to Florida. If a storm doesn't derail our flight. So
you're going to the beach. It's gonna be a sunny Christmas.
I don't even know if we'll hit the beach. We're gonna be at we're gonna do like, we got a hotel like right next to Disney. So we're gonna do some Disney stuff with the kids. So that'll be good. We got
but it's sunny though. It's sunny as fuck.
Yeah,
right?
it's warm. Yeah.
It's warm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that'll be good. So we're doing.
I've never done a sunny Christmas yet.
No.
Oh yeah.
I think this will be my first one too. Actually, usually Christmas is family. Like, we're flying out Christmas Day. Like, this is a nice little hack. If you don't celebrate Christmas, or you don't, it's not like a big tradition for you to do the Christmas tree and all that in your house. Christmas Day flights are cheap. Nobody's flying. Everyone's home.
Yeah.
Little hack there for you. You guys learn a little something today. You're welcome. All right, I gotta go. Diego, it's an honor to do this podcast with you. 2024 in the books. Here's to a spectacular 2025 and beyond. Hope you have a very safe holidays. Don't drink too much. And enjoy the family time, my friend.
You too. Likewise, Kiyan. Thank you, all you members, watchers. Keep supporting the pod, and I look forward to a prosperous 2025 for all of us.
Happy New Year's, Churros listeners. You can catch us over on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. As always, if you want to support the show and get a little bit more intimate with us with some raw churros, go to patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Peace out.
Peace.